guys, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Duke.
And we are the Powerful Rescue.
And we are out of clean clothes.
We don't have any more clean clothes. It's getting colder here, so we are living in onesies now.
If you guys follow us on Instagram, you already kind of know our setup. If you don't, we typically personally foster anywhere from 20 to 30 dogs at a time. And we also have a brand new 5-month-old Mally in the house. So laundry is going all towards the dogs.
Yeah.
It's been a little rough. Not a lot of sleep, not a lot of laundry, plenty of booze though. So we're hanging in there.
Okay. Well, today we are going to talk to you guys about 5 things you should take into consideration when bringing a new dog into your home, whether it's a dog that has been rehomed to you, like you've taken on the responsibility of a dog that needed to be rehomed, or you adopted a dog from the shelter, or even if you adopted a dog from a rescue.
Yes, that's a big one. Unfortunately, not all rescues are going to set you up with guidelines. If you've watched some of our previous videos, we have agreements in place, we have rules in place, things to help our fosters and adopters integrate their new dog into the home. That's not always going to be the case with rescues, unfortunately, and shelters have such high volume.
Right.
They don't have the guidelines in place to necessarily set you up for success all the time.
First key point to consider is it does take a dog 2 to 3 weeks to settle into their new home. That's not fully decompress. It takes a dog up to 3 months to really get into rhythm, into a routine, feel completely comfortable. But typically, within a 2 to 3 week period, a dog starts to feel a little more comfortable in the home. So be patient with this animal. They're in a new place, in a new environment, with new people, new sounds, new smells. So patience is key when allowing a dog to decompress in their new environment.
Yes. We've taken in a few dogs, Ellis being the most recent one that I think is kind of a good example. She was a King Corso that we took in from a bad situation. She was overbred. She had some medical to deal with. And when we picked her up, she was not a huge fan of me.
Or me.
I mean, yeah, or Steph. She did warm up to Steph, though, after about 24 hours.
Yeah, she did try to lunge and bite at first.
Yeah, but after that, Steph was her person.
Yeah.
And I didn't try and initiate contact. I wasn't trying to be in her face. I wasn't trying to give her affection or anything. I basically ignored her for 2 to 3 days. On the second day, she was clearly a little bit more interested in me. She would come up, sniff.
Yeah.
Third day, almost leaned in for pets a little bit. I still would allow her to kind of come in, but I gave her space, let her do her thing. And the 4th day, I walk out in the morning and she was all over me. Like I was her best friend on the planet. So, I mean, just because it takes a dog a little bit to come out of their shell and trust you, don't give up.
Yep.
Just be patient. Their personality will come out.
Point number 2 to take into consideration is no overstimulating situations, whether it's taking your new dog to PetSmart to pick out a collar, right? No, don't do that. Or having a family get-together or friends over the first couple of days or 2 weeks that you have this new little being in your house. This is a time for you to get to know this animal.
It's about you guys.
It's about you too, but overstimulating situations on an animal that's already stressed with a new person.
We always tell people, don't put a dog in a situation that they can't handle yet. It is your responsibility to keep your dog safe and set them up for success. If you are taking a dog straight from the shelter, which is a very stressful environment, and you're throwing them into a very stimulating, exciting situation, that could bring out some behavioral that you don't necessarily want, right? And that doesn't mean that that's something that's innate in the dog. It just might be their reaction at that time.
Fight or flight mode.
Fight or flight, and you want to build them up because once dogs have bad experiences, not all dogs, but there are some that they build off of that and they can't get past that, even if it's with a relative. We've had dogs in the past where it's make or break their first interaction with a dog. They could be dog friendly, but if they, for whatever reason, have a bad interaction with that dog off the bat, they are going to remember that. So if you have a dog right out of the shelter and you take them to a big family party and it's crazy and loud, they might not take, great to grandma and grandpa. As opposed to if you were to have waited 2 to 3 weeks, let that dog calm down, let that dog feel like a member of your family, and then slowly introduce them, things will go better.
Right. We've seen it time and time again and we understand where people's hearts are, right? They see a dog at the shelter that's been there for a few months and they're like, oh, I want to take this dog to the dog park so it can run around.
Yeah.
Again, that's a very overstimulating situation that you're putting this dog in, and you don't know them yet, and they don't know you. So if you call them, they're not going to come to you. If you're trying to stop them from doing something, they're not going to listen to you. So don't put these dogs in situations where they're going to react a certain way because they're scared.
Yeah. Clearly, we're the anti-fun police.
Yes.
Number 3, building a bond. And this is one of the most important ones on these 5 key points. This initial period of time is for you and your dog, or you and your family and your dog. Your dog is a member of your family. When you decide to adopt a dog, you are bringing a living, breathing thing into your home for the duration of their life. You don't always know the backstory. You don't always know where that dog came from. And even if you do, it's a very scary thing for a dog to go into a new home. They don't necessarily understand who the pack leader is.
Right.
Dogs want a leader. They want to know where they fall in the pack. So building a bond doesn't necessarily mean strictly smothering and loving on your dog, because you open yourself up to some boundary issues that way. It's a very fine balance of creating structure for your dog, bonding with your dog, and also showing them affection.
One of the easiest ways to create a bond with your animal is obviously through food, right? Treats, but also hand feeding your new dog. Mm-hmm. That creates a relationship where the dog understands that you have control of the food, right? So you are the leader, you control when they eat, when they don't eat. So creating that relationship with food and the dog is going to create a hierarchy in the household. Point number 4 is structure. And a lot of people feel like when you say the word structure, that means you cannot be affectionate or loving towards the animal.
Yep.
It's far from the truth. A dog, specifically in this case, like Duke said, loves a leader.
Yep.
So creating a structure and putting a structure in place, the dog understands where they fall in the pack, and it's almost like an itinerary for the day, right? The animal understands that it's coming out of the crate in the morning, we're gonna go for a walk, we're gonna get breakfast, we're gonna do potty, and a structured routine really creates a sense of stability within the animal, and in turn, the dog becomes more confident because it understands there's a schedule in place and there's a structure in place.
It doesn't mean you're cold to your dog.
No.
Part of structure can be couch time at night when the family's back from school or work and they're hanging out. Structure is just like it sounds.
Yeah.
It's building a daily routine for that dog so they understand what goes on and they understand what's expected every day. We actually just did a piece on our Instagram about how different dogs, respond to different types of training different ways. Some dogs are going to be food motivated. Some are going to be toy motivated. Toy motivation is a pain in the butt. Our favorite though is working drive or praise. We've had dogs that come into the rescue, and I know everyone's instinct is to use treats to try and motivate a dog to get them trained. Praise and giving a dog a job can work wonders. It's not all dogs, but especially when you get into working breeds, there are dogs that just want to please. They want a routine, they want to work, and that's what really makes them happy. That's what's going to improve their quality of life. So adding this structure in, you're going to find out if your dog is like that. But regardless, implementing structure in your dog's day-to-day life is going to improve their quality of life, and it's going to make them happier and you happier in the long run.
Point number 5, and really this is once the animal has decompressed some, right, you can start introducing them to things like short controlled walks. And this is not, let's go on a 5-mile jog. This is, let's get the leash out, let's walk the dog out to the driveway and turn around and come back home. And do that a few times. Then you're going to go a little further, go down to the end of the block and turn back around. The worst thing that you can do is, if you've never taken this dog on a walk, is go on a 2-mile walk and then realize the dog is scared of trash trucks. And now the dog has pancaked on the floor and does not want to move anymore. Or the dog is reactive to cats or other dogs on the street, and now you are half a mile away from home, and you are slightly embarrassed and worried on how you're going to get this dog back into your home. So slow, controlled walks so that you can, again, strengthen that bond with your dog where they understand that you are the leader, and you are starting to understand maybe triggers that this dog may have. The dog might not have any triggers, and the walk might go beautifully. I would still advise to do short controlled walks so that you can build a bond and understand your dog a little bit better.
Yeah, you have to assess and learn their temperament. That's a really, really big one, and everyone's made this mistake. We've made it too. Even doing pack walks with new dogs. In the middle of a park or on a busy street is not a great time to learn that one of those dogs is reactive and one of them is reactive to cars.
Right.
So working your way up to that slowly is going to help you out, and it's going to help build your dog's confidence. The more intel you can gather, the better. We always tell our new fosters and adopters, we give them everything we know, A to Z from the time we've had that dog, our full assessment, and then we tell them to throw everything out the window and treat this dog as if you just got them out of the shelter, because temperaments can also change, especially with a new dog out of the shelter coming into a home. If they're not feeling great, they start to feel good. And what was a really quiet, shy, cuddly dog might be a complete psychopath. And it can go both ways. Some of them calm down.
Right.
We've had dogs that were labeled as, reactive or selective in the shelter that get out. And within a few months, they're on the couch hanging out with the other dog.
Right.
So temperament can change, and a lot of that is going to be on you and how you handle those first few weeks with your dog.
Right. So it's all about patience, structure, and getting to know that animal before you take it out to the real world. Allowing that time for the animal to decompress is going to build a better bond between you and the animal.
Yep.
And is going to make that animal a lot more confident so that you can go do the fun stuff, right? You can go on those hikes. You can go to the coffee shop with your dog.
Family gatherings.
But
Yep.
skipping all of these steps, you might end up with a very scared and anxious dog. So take it slow. There's no need to rush the whole process. You're hopefully going to have this dog for a really long time.
That's all we got for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. If you want to see anything else, ring the bell. And you can check out our Instagram and our website on the links below.
And if you have any links to fun onesies we should purchase, comment below and put those links in.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
You are
Make sure I
fidgety.
look dapper.
No overstimulate. Oh. Point number 2 to take into consideration.
What? 2?
What were you doing?
Nothing.
You were doing
No,
something.
it
What am I trying to say? I know what I'm trying to say. I can't say it.
I gotcha.
Do you?
You should. Yeah.
Sorry.